But I think of creativity, and I think this is why it was a little bit of a difficult subject for me, as something really, really different than that. It's a very encompassing thing, because every person, as mentioned in that little thing that JB just read, has their own unique gifts. Every single person has gifts that they bring to the table, no matter who they are. Rich, poor, whatever, everyone's got something that they came here with that's uniquely theirs. And I see that as part of the creation process. I think of my life every day when I live it as, I'm creating this day. I'm making this day what I want it to be, not what people want to hand to me. And that takes a lot of mindful presence from minute to minute, that you have to just stay focused on the fact that something may be happening that you're not happy about, but how you handle it is what's going to make you create the situation that benefits you. So I always think of how I'm going to live my day that day, and the most important and significant thing to me is to create happiness for me and for anybody that I come in contact with. I don't ever want to leave anybody feeling badly when I walk away from them. And trust me, this has been a difficult journey for me, because I'm from New York. And when I was raised in New York, on Long Island, you had to have some snap. I mean, you had to be ready to take anybody down at any given moment. And I'm not kidding, I don't mean physically, I just mean verbally. You had to be able to handle the guy behind the counter who was going to give you crap when you didn't order fast enough, or, everybody's breakneck pace. And because of that, there's a lot of anxiety and there's a lot of things that are thrown at you. So this was a tough journey for me. And I don't say I'm successful 100% of the time. I'm not. I still get my feelings hurt and I want to lash out. But I much rather create with that person a connection, because no matter how lousy they treat me, if you meet them in the eye and you say something to them like, so, how are you today? It kind of dissipates all of that. And they're like, oh. It doesn't work all the time, but for the most part. And down here, it's really easy to live this way because most people are very civil and genteel. So I think of creation as something that you do every day. You decide to be happy, or you decide to create this space for yourself, and you live it. And with it, along with it, you bring your creative gifts, because everybody has them. I tried to think about this last night, like, okay, I don't make things. I don't make anything. So how do I speak to what people understand as creativity? I have one gift that I readily see. I'm like the best mother ever in the whole world, and I can say that.
All right.
And I really think that that's why I am here, because I loved my kids with such zeal. I would be called a smother, because I love you. You're so great. Look at how great you look today. You're so smart. You're this, you're that. All the time. And my kids are like, I know, Mom. I know, Mom, I'm great. I look good today. But they laugh about it now, and they say, yes. They really feel good about themselves.
Right.
And that's all I wanted for them to know. They always had a soft place to fall, and that they were loved for being themselves, because believe me, they weren't good all the time. But it didn't matter. They were my children to raise. So I thought that was a tremendous act of creation on my part. And I think anybody who is a parent, you can create, a lot of love with the other people. And it really sends them on their way. I mean, I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And they're brave. And they're not afraid. And that blows my mind. And guess what? They're nice. They didn't have that edge their mother had. They're just nice, loving people. And for that, I am really grateful. The silly little thing I'm good with is color. People always call me to find out what color they should put on their walls, okay? So that's it. I don't make anything, but I feel like I'm a very creative person in that regard. I was hoping some of the artists would be here today so they could share that. Oh, okay, cool. All right, so you wanted to say something?
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
when you were talking about how you instilled in your kids, and they just got tired of you saying it because you said it so much,
Right.
how you're great. You know, well, the thing I love about that is that it became a habit, regardless of whether they wanted it or not wanted it or whatever. But it became such a habit and became instilled in them, and that's to me, that's a foundational thing that I feel like it's like a jewel. So even now, like we can apply habitual things to our life in a creative way. And when you said that, like a light just went on in my head to say, you know, it's not too late. Whether it's relationship, whether it's finance, to go ahead and start doing that. Put that foundational habit in there of doing something enough that it becomes a habit. You know.
Are you okay?
Allergies.
Oh, okay, sweetie. As long as you can live. Go ahead.
One of the things that I think is so important walking in late, but I immediately grasped what you were saying, is that in the beginning, everything was spoken. It was created by speaking it into existence. So by virtue of the fact that you were able to speak words, positive words that created the kids that you have today, because out of your mouth, you did things for them that whenever someone on the outside says something negative to them, you built them up to a point that it won't matter what anyone else says about them, whether it be in school, whether it be in life, because you spoke it out of your mouth to them continuously. So there was no question about who I am, because you always told them who they were. So the power of spoken word is awesome.
I believe that too, because I mean, I think I grew up in a household where, and I have no blame here, it's just a generational thing. You know how my parents, my father fought in World War II, you know, that whole thing, and they really didn't verbalize like, oh my God, you're so great. And in fact, I asked my mother one day, I said, how come you and Dad never say like, oh, that's great, or I love them? I mean, my parents never even said anything about my report. I get them. They put them on the counter, didn't say a good thing, didn't say a bad thing, nothing. So I remember when I got older, I said to my father, my mother actually, how come you and Dad like never wrote, you know, like, I love you, because we never wanted you to get a big head. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a generational thing. I want my kids' heads to be huge, but, you know, with consideration for the fact, like, one of the things I always emphasize is every other person, they got it going on too. You know, I just felt that that was significant. But, anyway, I'd rather everybody else spoke. Go ahead, Mom.
I'm just happy and thankful because I feel that you have just said a mouthful. You just given us a book just in what you said thus far in terms of creativity, because for each one of us, I think we have to always be looking and come into that place. How do we create happiness for ourselves? We know that today with television, with all the things that are happening, we could get down, or we could define ourselves by what other folks are saying to us and saying about us. And even when parents have said certain things, we have to go beyond that to see who we are. And all of us have so much creativity in us. Some of us never identify with it. They say that the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because people carry, you know, everything with them. And it also, what you said thus far is so important, because you have emphasized to us that daily we have have to make choices and decisions. And after we make them, we have to evaluate and not get down on ourselves. Maybe if we made bad ones, wrong ones, we could say, well, if I live tomorrow, I can change, I can do better because I learned what I did yesterday. So I just want to thank you. I'm just excited. I don't even know how to express all that I feel. You just said to us, creative thus far.
And just real quick, I just want to say, we created right behind you. That's our vision board.
Yeah.
And it's common ground, and every one of those things up there, individuals put on to represent something that they're envisioning for common ground. And they would probably almost have to explain it, but it's all of us as a family really coming together. You know, it's like some people put money, they put faces of women, they put men, they put just different buildings or whatever it might be. It represents us. And like Mother Betsy, and if it was birthed out of Mother Betsy saying that she would like to see not only us here, but like other areas where there could be like a common ground to operate like us to the people that have needs in those areas. So in other words, expansion. So, but anyway, I just want to bring that up about the
That would be a very creative thing, to take this nugget and bring it to other areas that need it as well.
And we, on that particular day, and I think it was so phenomenal, we're going to ask Dee Dee to come back. And what we're going to do when she comes back, that was the vision board for us. But the assignment was given that each one of us are going to make our own personal vision board for next year, for the rest of the year, beginning the day we do. I'm already collecting the magazines. I've already bought the folder, so everybody's going to have their own folder, and everybody's going to make their own vision board. It's a wonderful thing to have it. It's like, where do you want to go? And then when you reflect on where have we come from? So get ready for it, everybody.
I'd just like to make a suggestion. When we do a vision board, it goes back to what Laura was saying earlier, repetitive. Looking at it daily, you know, let it be somewhere we can see it. Sometimes maybe 2 or 3 times a day, over the bedpost or on the wall or something where you can see it. We eat a lot, put it on the refrigerator, you know, yeah, whatever.
I have a folder, so you can definitely put it by your bed, put it in the bathroom, put it wherever, open it up and look at it. Oh.
Okay, can I tell a story?
I love that.
Okay, when I worked, now this is going back about 30 years. When I worked, my company used to send me 4 times a year to a conference. And they were in different cities, always a really nice place, always paid for it, so it was really nice to go. And they'd always have a keynote speaker. So at one conference, forgive me, my memory doesn't pull the man's name back, they had this guy speak. And he talked about when he was growing up, if he had any idea about anything, he'd tell his mother, and his mother would like pull out the fire hose and fill that idea, you know. Just a lot of disapproval. And so like if he passed this message, just select who you're sharing your joy with, because not everybody has the same vision as she was talking about vision. But then he went on, and now I'll tell you who, I don't know his name still, but who he was I think the first president of Disney College, and Walt Disney College. And Walt Disney found this guy in Korea during the Korean War. And now there were a lot of people in Korea during the Korean War, so what made this guy jump out? It wasn't that he had a degree from Harvard or anything, or you know, that he had any stellar educational background. They would sleep, I guess, outside in sleeping bags and stuff, and with you could set up a little like shelter over your head, not up there, but like right attached to your sleeping bag right overhead. What he would do around his sleeping bag was he'd put a picture of people that he loved. He put a little candle. He had like a little symbol, you know, like a dog or something that he loved. And he would, all around his sleeping bag, he would have all these things. I think maybe even some music. And, you know, Disney said, wow. His idea was you carry your environment with you wherever you go, and you create your own environment. So he did this as he walked to the stage, up on the podium, he did the same thing. And then he talked about he lived in California, his house in his living room, he took the same approach, and he put like a bathtub in his living room, and he had a big window with a telescope, so he could sit in the bathtub and look out at the telescope. I mean, the man was hugely creative, and carried it with him, and people noticed, and fortunately, other people was work with him, so.
That's fantastic. But it just goes to show you how like vast creativity can be. It's not really this little box. Go ahead.
Last Christmas, I decided I was going to have a nice, huge Christmas dinner. But the center of the dinner was going to be a turkey. And I had people coming at me from 100 different directions. You know how to do that? I said, yeah. You ever did it before? It's going to be done.
Question. What is it?
It's a turkey. It's a whole turkey that's been deboned and opened up. A whole duck deboned and opened up. And then a whole chicken bone. And then you put a stuffing in the middle and then you tie it up and then you bake it.
It sounds all foul to me.
And there were people that were coming at me, you gonna do that for Christmas dinner? You never did it before? And I looked at him and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be done and it's gonna be perfect. I wouldn't take that risk. I said, too bad. Not only did the turkey go off right, I had a nice ham, I had other stuff everything that I put on that table. When it came to the end of the night, I only had 2 items left over. And the turkey was not one of them. Because it was the point, and the point was, if I had to listen to all the naysayers, I would have been like, okay, I just get a turkey and that would be it. But, I mean, it was so naysayers will kill your creativity. But I didn't laugh.
You can't let that. You didn't. You just went and made it.
You know what I mean? And they came out perfect.
Hi.
This is the office.
I know. At first with the hanky, no, but then again.
I'm sorry for being late. I had to turn in some artwork at the class. But I put my mask that I'm starting to make, Mardi Gras mask. And I put one on my page for people to see it. And I had a whole bunch of people tell me they was actually, no, on her page. And I had a lot of other people tell me they was ugly, you know what I'm saying, that it didn't look right. So I didn't start again and do over. But then I also had a whole bunch of other people to say that it was pretty, they want me to make them one and all that stuff. So yeah, the naysayers actually had me down for a minute. But then after I looked at the positive comments, it didn't bother me. I just erased everything they said and, kept about this stuff.
I was listening to what he was saying, and I was having this conversation with him with Larry yesterday, but it was just the fact that we live in a world where God has given us freedom. We can do what we want. Now, everybody may not like it, but you have a choice. We can choose to do something that's worthy or something that could be bad. Like somebody go out there and murder people, or then people go out and then they help people to get into a home, they're homeless. But the thing is that you're always going to find, even though the majority of people could see that there's something wonderful, but you're always going to find that one person going to say, that's a bunch of crap. You understand? So the thing is, goes right back to that foundation of what Laura's saying. We have to, even if no one told you how good you are, you have to tell yourself, or we have to tell ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to tell ourselves it's good. Even if I'm the only one eating it, it's going to be good for me.
Well, that's all part of the whole creation thing too. It's like, don't get me wrong, I don't think I made my kids feel that way. I think my kids eventually got there themselves, but with my assistance.
Yes.
And with the assistance of everyone around them. But, you know,
Well,
you get up every day and you're gonna create how you wanna live. And I wanted them to live like they were powerful, loved human beings. you
well,
know?
turn that around. Say if you got up every morning and said, you old knucklehead kid, get your blink out that bed. What do you think you are, some lazy bum? You know, if you kept saying that every day, not saying that it would have turned out to be a dirty bum or
But it's
no
harder.
good.
It's harder
Exactly.
to overcome.
Exactly.
You wanted to say something?
Yes. Sorry I was late too. I wanted to kind of go on with, he said, I'm an artist too and I do music and everybody don't agree with what I do it. But first and foremost, I do it for myself. I don't care what they say. And I think you shouldn't be such a follower. I'm more of a, feel as myself, if I was to get into this industry, I would be more like a trendsetter, not a trend follower. I do what I want and that's what make a great artist. So keep doing what you do. Don't worry about what the naysayers say. Let the haters be your motivators. Let them be the fire that you do so you say can succeed. Yeah. Don't worry about the shoot. Love them. I love all my haters, bro. I do. Do what you do. Because the right person gonna take notice.
But you're here to do what you do. And that's one of the things you always have to remember with creativity is you are here to do what you do. And so people can make comments about it, but when you know it's strong, it's within you and you want to, I'm sure you both know this is where I want to go. Oh, I'm sorry, Rita.
You were, no, opposite.
I'm sorry, Rita, I didn't know you were here. No, I knew you were here, I didn't know you were raising your hand.
I just did that. You didn't. I was in a position, just a wonderful position, of working with children who were 5 years old. I come from a background where somebody told me what to do, and I did it. I used to think to myself, my mom winds me up, I go to Catholic school, I stay there all day, they wind me up, and I go home again. And I didn't grow up in a very fertile, creative kind of situation. But I dreamed about it all the time. I was a daydreamer. And how it could be different. So when I got this marvelous opportunity to work with 5-year-olds, what I tried to establish was a feeling of not so much you as an individual can create, but together with all your creativity and whatever I had going for me, we could create an atmosphere that was fun, that was great for learning, that included all of us. We did a lot with likenesses and differences, and the conclusion was that basically we're more alike than we're different. I guess it depends on your environment, where you are with that thing. But they got this real feeling of, we're gonna make this one thing, the cleanest kindergarten in the whole school, because we can. It's our thoughts. We had, my husband almost killed me. I paid $350 to have a red rug cut in a big circle. And we sat around that red circle. That was our creativity time. And we were going to create something. Sometimes it was peace, because 2 little kids were scrapping and everything. And then they could ask for help from anybody. So that it was always together, we can do this. And the encouragement of every fresh idea. And I heard some very interesting ideas from 5-year-olds, which gave me a respect for a 5-year-old for the rest of my life. They are capable, just like you said, we're all capable of creating something. With me, there were 2 words, constructive and destructive. So we talked about that. And constructive meant we all worked to get something going together. And destructive meant some kid went over and kicked over the building that was just made in the block corner. And how's that make you feel? You know what? We're with these people all day long. What could we do to change that? I don't know that I used the word creativity, but it was the thing that was in my mind. And God, I can't paint, I can decorate with children's pictures. And this classroom became known as a very creative place. Go down there and look and see what they're doing now. And I'm sorry to say, as I listen to Laura, that that's not how I raised my children. And the 5th grade teacher who had my daughter said, "You're too hard on them. You're too hard." And I've lived with that the rest of my life. And I was carrying on this morning with Sally about taking care of them now. But I think if we can create the spirit of creativity, of pulling together, I even believe it can be peace on earth. I think
absolutely.
it can begin with me, it can begin with thee, we, everyone else, if in our mind we're thinking of moving forward. I was an I can't kid. I don't know whether it was good teaching or not, but nobody could say I can't in the kindergarten. They had to at least say, I'll try. And there was always, can you add something to it? Can you think of some way that would make this little aspect of it more fun? Fun appealed to them a lot better than your duty to clean up the room because we messed it up kind of thing. So to me, it's enlightening. It's giving them freedom to think. We never had discussions about what did you do bad today. We had discussions about how can we help each other have a happier place to live in here. And it was the fulfillment of my life's dream. And that's why, to this day, I miss the 5-year-olds. However, I meet a lot of people who still have that excited feeling like the 5-year-old did. And then I can get as excited as I can be. You can tell, my chin's not on the floor now, and I have all of you to thank for that. I feel vibrations where I'm free to say what I want. I'm free to tell you I didn't have any freedom when I was young, but watch out when I turn 85.
With what you said, I think that it says to all of us that it's creative for us to be able to reflect on the past, let go of the past, and then be the best person we can be in terms of creativity because of what has taken place in our past. And then in doing that, through our creativity, I feel we have a great outreach and ministry with those around us. We don't affect everybody the same way because, as an artist, you have one effect on somebody in terms of creativity, and then somebody else in terms of color, as we said, have another effect on people. So we do need one another, and we influence one another, and we want to be aware of using and knowing our creativity, and then evaluating how it reaches out to others.
Again, I have to go back to another food stuff.
Because that's what you do. You're a chef.
Well, I was watching my favorite show, well, not my favorite show, but Chocolate yesterday. And there was a cook on there. He had been in sobriety for 12 years. But there was a situation where he had given a basket with these oysters in it and a whole bunch of other stuff, and he had a 20-minute time limit. and he put some oil in the skillet while he was seasoning the oysters and everything. And the skillet got too hot and the oil was beginning to be slightly burnt.
Yeah.
And he looking at the clock, and then he had to think within himself. And he said, well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a little more oil in here and tip the skillet where the dark oil won't get down into the regular oil. And then I'm gonna be able to fry my oil perfectly. And it came out perfect.
Did that work?
It worked. He had to use resourcefulness and creativity. And by the way, he won the competition.
But usually when the oil goes, you could forget about it. You could
Start over.
forget about it.
So he was sitting there praying in his sobriety prayer all at the same time.
Yeah,
And doing what he needed to do.
that's great.
I was listening to everybody, and my eyes kind of fell on the table. And you know, on the table you see objects. You know, I see bottles, I see eyeglasses, I see donuts, hats. And you know, and then the thought came to me was thought. All these things we're looking at was just a thought. I mean, it wasn't even there at one time. In other words, this earpiece here, it wasn't in existence as we see it here, but it was somewhere out there. But someone had a thought, you know, why don't we do something where you just put in the ear and talk to people and hear people? So, so it's almost like living in the palm of your hand and seeing nothing. And then you think, what is, you know, in creativity, what is that thing you would like to have or want? Next thing you know, there it is, through time. You know, like everything we see, everything, the tables, everything around us was really a thought. And you know what? We're seeing more and more that more thoughts are coming to pass, because every year we have to get a new phone. You know? A new car or whatever, but pretty soon I think we're going to be hovering or flying or something. Or my thing is, I have thoughts that we're going to push a button and we can instantly, you know, just like the way they do movies and things now, how we can see, you know, from the phone, we can see movies and all. I think it's going to get to a point where they're going to be able to take matter and we can actually travel through. I know that sounds crazy.
No,
I
agree with him.
I remember the Jetsons.
Remember
The Jetsons
that
was a-
transporter that they used to have on that show, was
Star
Star Trek?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I
exactly.
always
That's
thought,
it. That's the
we
one.
need to get that.
But see, somebody,
Nobody would have to fly or
The
travel.
communicator
Get
on
it.
Star Trek
yes,
is bringing her
exactly. And you know, and see, if you read the Bible, it talks about there was a time when Jesus entered the room without the doors being open. So somehow, if you believe the story, he transported himself into the room without opening the door. So for most of us, we would be like, ooh, you know, it's a ghost.
Somebody gave me a gift, and it was a picture of wise women, okay, and children. And there was a Bible verse around the frame. And it was talking about how children are protected by angels. And in the Bible, I don't know the place exactly, is the phrase, beam them, and the angel beamed them up. And when I saw that, I thought of Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I mean, that confirmed to me that that was such a thing, that it or is, can be done. Can be done.
And I think it's a thing of the unknown, because you see, your turkey duck chicken, I mean, it may have been initially, you saw it, and to many it was unknown, so they didn't know. And that's the reason why a lot of times I've learned that when God gives me something, I acknowledge He gave it to me. And though I might ask other people for their opinion, in my mind, I'm already knowing they might say, oh, no, it's not this. So what I'm doing is trying to gather information enough to make this thing come to pass. And it's like a just weight and an even balance. Because I was reading something, here's the thought right here. It says, if you think too much, says think too much, says you will create a problem that was not there in the first place. So there needs to be a balance, you know. So, so if you know, there's a balance that you can think about. But if you think too much, you probably encourage yourself to not do something. So you know, you need a just weight and even balance in creativity.
I have a question. Does anyone think like I do that creativity represents freedom, my freedom to do, and that's what I was missing. So to me, then the greatest gift that you can give me is freedom, and then just please let it be guided by a proper source.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, I don't think it has much to do with creativity, but I thought of Miss Sally, and I thought when she said, I don't feel so great, or I feel cranky, sometimes I do too. And then sometimes I wouldn't say I feel cranky, I'm just blah, a little bit. And I think, you know, we have such limited time here. And Sally is gonna go to Greece here for, take a 10-day trip with the church. And it's so interesting because I think maybe last time, Sally, you talked about it, but if we're tired, or we haven't eaten right, or we aren't exercising, we're not taking good care of ourselves, it's really hard to have that creativity to make life happy around us. If we're, and so I think when we're off, it's always a great time to be prayerful and to think, oh my God, I haven't slept for 5 nights, or I've been eating crap, or, you know, whatever. I mean, usually we could trace it back, and we're our own worst enemies.
Yeah, and part of that whole thing too is that, you know, you're not up every day of your life. I mean, there are some days you'll get up and maybe even for no apparent reason. I give myself
Rest.
a task, you know, like,
Yeah.
okay, you're having a little moment. It's okay. I just don't want to abuse anybody when I'm in that situation. That's it, like I'll say to my husband, because he's my easy target, I'm a little cranky today, just warn you right up front, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, then I try to keep myself in check, because I know I might react differently. But, you know, as human beings, we have our highs and our lows, and it's always going to happen. But my creative goal is to try to stay, you know, I used to say to my kids when it's even frying or whatever, I'd say, why would you want to waste 5 minutes on this? And, you know, I know they used to get, I mean, they, what's funny about them now as adults is they sit there and they make fun of me now when we go out to eat. Oh, remember when she said this, or remember what, but it's cute, it's very loving, you know, it's not. But I just didn't want them to waste time, or and I always felt like it was giving your power over to things that you really didn't want in your life, so.
You know, I feel like I'm at a point where I'm recreating myself. It's every 7 years you go through something.
Yes.
Well, I don't know, I must be in that something. And I feel like I'm recreating myself in the sense that it seems like for the longest, I've had residential houses where I've had a nonprofit and, you know, residential house for men where people stay with me, or either when I finish with that, I live with other people. There's church members, I lived in the basement, I've done this, that. And even the house that Larry and I have now, you know, we've been blessed with a nice large house. And we've had people staying with us since we've been there. Now, it's at a point where, like 4 months ago, nobody was in the house, just Larry and I. And I must admit, I feel like I was going through PTSD. I felt like I was going through post-traumatic stress disorder because no one was there to say, hey, you know, make sure you clean out those dishes because someone's coming behind you. And, you know, that was our rule, you know, make sure you clean up your stuff so no one else will have to clean up behind you or whatever. Just little things. And I didn't mind helping people out, but it was also to a point I think that I need to, in recreating myself, I need to be in a space right now where it is just Larry and I. And I found out that, you know, while everybody was there, I would go to the gym, I do this and that. But when everybody left, I didn't want to go to the gym. When it came to Larry and the two dogs, we have the two little chihuahuas. I didn't want to keep telling them, okay, you need to go outside and pee-pee. Don't you pee-pee inside this house. You know? And I would tell Larry, don't let them run outside. You know? I mean, it was funny because I found myself apologizing to Larry, the dogs, because sometimes I felt like I would, you know, I would holler, don't open that door, you know, instead of my, you know, look, Larry, don't let them go out the door right now, because, you know, I don't want to run out, you know, car hit them or something. So, you know, but I feel like in this mode, and it don't happen overnight, it's almost like a plant. You plant a seed and it grows and eventually becomes a tree. It's like I'm in this point where I'm being recreated for the next big thing in our life. And I'm okay with it, and I acknowledge it. But in the meantime, while I'm there, sometimes I feel kind of like,
Yeah, but
like I don't, you know, my words are not all there. Or,
you're not there.
yeah. You know,
You
when I'm
kinda-
talking to people, I feel
yeah.
like what I'm saying may not be making much sense to you, and I might seem like I'm ordering them around. I don't know. All I'm saying is I know I'm in a recreating of JV mode.
And you know what's so interesting though is like everybody's conversations as they got going was really what one of my points be that we create our lives every day. And you may be recreating yourself, you know, I mean, I feel like everybody is, as a human being, you go through different stages. That's a nice ringtone.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you only traded $50 for that interruption.
They're getting hefty, the
Well,
fines,
I
huh?
have, I think I have it off and it just never,
Well, we don't go on excuses.
okay. What about IOU? No, it was yeah, it's all gone.
Okay, because Marguerite, you gonna do a little
Yeah.
thing? All right.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks so much because you're gonna worry about this. Yeah, Marguerite's gonna lead us in prayer before we go eat.
Everybody take a nice, deep, cleansing breath, the breath of God. Close your eyes and relax. And I'm going to read from the Daily Word, today's message. I celebrate the free spirit that I am. Sometimes I may forget to give thanks for one of my greatest gifts, freedom. I am free to believe what I wish and worship where I want. I am free to travel and free to express myself. Most important, I am free to choose my thoughts and my responses. In the silence, I let go of fear, worry, and pain. I release any limiting opinions or views of myself and claim my divine potential. My heart expands with gratitude as I connect with the part of me that knows no limits, my spirit self. I affirm I am free to choose my thoughts and responses, and I align my dreams with the highest good. I rejoice in the presence of unbounded spirit in me and claim my infinite potential. What a beautiful prayer that is. What a beautiful thing to bring into our life. And now we give our special thanks to this group of lovers, people who get together and share their truth, their vulnerability, and their dreams. I feel so blessed to be a part of this circle. And I feel so blessed to be a part of the women who come here regularly and cook this food, which is delicious, and which is healthy. It was cooked with love, it's ingested with love, and the cells of our body rejoice in this love. Thank you, God. Thank you so much. Amen.
Oh, that is such a
How you doing?
Oh, yeah,
It's
for
in
the
my-
wedding.
It's still in my mind.
You better do that. Now, that's a creation, right?
Yeah, sure, right.
Right, but you didn't forget to
It's still in my mind. Oh, I know.
Who does the computer stuff? What do you mean? For their church? Yeah. Oh, 9 is in there. I didn't know. We'll get
Very taxing. 12 hours.
I made one break.
good. You know, it's a drip on Oh, we're good. We got each other. Chris, where you originally from?
Washington, D.C.
Oh, really? How long you been here?
Who was it?
About a month and a half.
How you like it?
I hate it.
What's dead? You with JB? You next. And your children, how many children? How many? Wait a minute, Chris, how many? You got 13 children. Blow it out. Blow it out. Blow it. Blow it, man. How do you? How many back you are? Get the hell out of here. How old is she?
29.
Is he over here?
You gotta give this story, yeah. 13 children. July the what? Oh, you're a Leo.
Tied up. No, I did a chicken and I did
the bones, the rest of the bones. Then you can go and the whole chicken. Double back of the turkey. Roll it up.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, you know, I don't get invited, so.
I invited you to the last
On the blue.
That's gonna be TMI for me, bro.
I know, too much on my mind.
They got plenty
Hey, Larry, look at that fine plate, gracious me. Very, very fine.
And she must need lunch.
So hard.
No, because I had to. Get you a nap. It's okay, as long as you got 88 what I can do.
Okay.